What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another team selection video on Fantasy Football Scout. We're going to take you through Gianni's Game Week 31 and then look ahead to 32, transfers, captaincy. There's quite a bit going on. Both of us are actually quite tight for money. We were discussing before when it comes to transfers. And Gianni's already locked one in as well. So we're going to look at that in a sec. How are you feeling?
Yeah, mate, very well, thank you. Not the best week, but yeah, all things are good. Do you know what? I've stopped knowing. I've just had to check. I'm looking now at my points because I was thinking, how many points did I get last week? I genuinely didn't know because I know it's around about 50 and therefore I'm not happy with it. So I can't, it doesn't just roll off the tongue like it used to, you know? You're like, oh yeah, 72 points. I couldn't tell you. I went on the FPL show last week. First question, how's your game week? What points did you get? I didn't know the answer. I quite like that. I'm not having the best season. I'm having a dreadful season and I'm kind of just playing for fun now. So yeah, I'm already looking forward to next season, but likewise, each game week as it goes, that I'm seeing the upside and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, all good.
Yeah, I think you had, I'll just bring the team up now. So 48 minus 4, so 44. Yeah, I got 50 minus 8, so I only got 42. Like, it was a really, I think if you didn't have Iheanacho and Lingard, it kind of hurt you because there a lot of wildcarders went for them. And they both delivered double-digit hauls, and it was massive, basically. Like, I think there was quite a few ways to keep up with wildcarders this week, but if you didn't have either of those two, yeah, it definitely hurt. Let's just quickly talk about it. I won't go over it too long. I mean, in general, right, how are you feeling about the rank? Like, are you changing? Do you just not care? You're just making whatever transfer? Are you still trying to get, like, most points? Are you trying to do it differently, or are you just playing it by ear?
It's a good question because I possibly should be going really rogue, going for sort of a late riser approach where you go, I'm going to go really, really differential. But actually, the points are still important to me. And yes, is there a difference between me finishing at 200k and finishing at 800k? Probably not. Like, it's going to be my worst finish or second to worst finish ever. Like, I think I've finished outside the top 100k like once. So it's going to be another top outside 100k likely. So it shouldn't matter too much. But at the same time, I feel like I need a little bit of credibility, and I will perhaps gain that if I have a good finish rather than a weak finish.
Yeah.
And by going weak finish, I could easily do that by just picking, by captaining Aguero last game week. So I think I'm still going with the players I'd usually pick. I'm not really changing my game. And my game, as you guys know, like, it's not Maverick at all, but it's not safe. It's somewhere along the sort of bold scale. If Maverick's 100%, Dullard's 0%, I think I'm a 75% type of guy. And my picks are still going towards that. So yes, this week I'm bringing in someone that's pretty obvious and template, but at the same time, I've got a few in my team that aren't, i.e. big at the back, Pereira, Dean. So yeah, I'm not really changing, to be fair, mate. I mean, I guess my chip strategy is a little different to most, and I always knew it would be. Like you, we're eyeing up 3 hits with a big double in 35 or 36. That makes it a little bit differential. And if I get a good finish, it's all really on that double game week and that chip, which I think is going to be really fun and really valuable, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a different time than I've ever used it before. We'll discuss that in a second, actually. Let's just quickly go through last week. So, Watkins came through for you. Son as well, actually, against Man United. Because I think a few people went without Son in 31 to then get him in 32. So, it was kind of nice that he returned. And what you have to remind me now, what were your transfers? Because you've taken out Foden.
I took a 4-point hit. So, I brought in Jota. I was Operation Target Liverpool last week. I didn't have any Liverpool and I wanted to get Salah in, and there was no way of really getting Salah easily. And I had to sell City lads. So Foden went for Jota, and it could have been Gundogan, but I couldn't actually afford selling selling. I had more money in Foden and I had the exact funds pretty much. And then Trent came in for Matt Target, who I didn't want a Villa defender, really. I know they've got a double coming up, probably, but when they do, that's probably when my free hit comes in. They've got dreadful fixtures. So Target went for Trent, and then Jota came in. So that was a given. And then I took the 4-point hit to bring Jota in for Foden, which ahead of 33, I'm focusing on getting 11 out. I knew I had to sell some City.
Yeah, fair enough. And obviously Trent did really well. Nice goal at the end. And how Jota came away from... I watched the whole game. How he came away without any points in that, I don't know. It's just one of those where, he passed the ball into Salah in the first half. Salah put it to the, just wide of the post. There was that chance at the end where I don't know. Maybe Mane just couldn't get it past the defender, but if he'd passed early enough, it was so easy. It looked easy anyway.
So greedy from Mane. You don't
yeah.
expect that from Mane.
I just wonder. Yeah, I just wonder if it was a case of like, well, you bench me, I'm going to show you why you shouldn't have benched me, and I'm going to score straight away. But obviously it didn't happen, so it didn't quite work out maybe how he was thinking. But yeah, that could have been not necessarily a tap-in for Jota, but it would have been a one-on-one. You would have backed him to score. Elsewhere, Luca Dean finally came in with some points. I feel like Luca Dean's like, I don't know, it feels like he should have scored way better than he has this year. I don't think Everton have actually defended that well, but he's actually got not bad fixtures coming up after the blank. Are you thinking of holding him like longer term?
Yeah, I can't see myself getting rid. I mean, I think there'll be a couple of He's an expensive defender to be benching, and at times I think I will probably have to. But yeah, I've got other fires really. I like Dean. I think there's a big upside there, and likewise Pereira. Like Pereira should have been getting way more points than he has, and I actually got an assist out of Pereira this week. Still only got 3 points, mind, because he of course got the yellow card, conceded a fair few. But I mean, again, Pereira could have had a goal and another assist. He was all over. He was pretty much playing front three. He's so attacking, and I really want to keep him. I like Pereira. When they moved to 4-4-2 second half, they had Castagna right back, Pereira right mid. In the first half, obviously, he was playing as a wing back in a back 3 or 5, but very attacking. So yeah, Dean and Pereira. They're both due some big points. I like them. That FPL gold, those two. I have been in seasons gone by, and they're really lowly owned this season. So yeah, I like them as a bit of a differential.
Yeah, I do like Pereira, and obviously we know the fixtures are good. I'm going to bring... So there are a few other questions about some of these players, like Alonso captain, obviously.
Yeah, that was bold, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'm going to bring up the team for next week, right? Because you made a really good case about Alonso, and I think... Now, you probably watched the whole game. I didn't see it all. I did read about it, that he didn't have a great game against West Brom.
No, he didn't.
No, so would you now agree that it looks like... I mean, it probably was the case anyway, but Chilwell is definitely first choice. 100%. But also now that he's maybe not going to risk Alonso as much, what do you think?
No, I stand by my original point, to be fair. My original point was I'm buying Alonso because I think he's going to play 3 in the next 4 Premier League games, right? And I also said I think Chilwell's going to start both games against Porto and against Man City in the Cup. Okay.
So far, so good, right?
So what? So other than, he missed last week. So from those 4 Premier League games, I said Alonso would start. Fair enough, he started 1 in 2. But I do think he starts against Brighton, and I do think he starts against West Ham. That will get me the 3 and 4 that I was hoping to get from him. I never thought Alonso was first choice, i.e. I said Chilwell would play in the big games against better teams. It was more Chelsea had good fixtures, and Alonso plays against weaker teams. So, Chilwell's, I'm pretty confident, starts against Man City this weekend. And if he does, then that means for Brighton, it's back on Alonso, I feel. So, I mean, I got it wrong last week. I expected him to start, but he wasn't great against Palace. And Chilwell, we looked at and goes, you can play 3 games in 8 days. And it looks like he can. So, all good. I'm still planning on keeping my boy. And eventually, I'll sell him when the fixtures turn in 34, 35. And then again, more of a rotation risk. But I only wanted him for those 3-4 weeks. And the upside there we know is big.
He owes us now. He owes us a big score against Brighton. So plus obviously, I mean, I don't know how much this thinking comes into it. I know we talk about it a lot. Like I say, we in like general as a community that obviously Alonso is quite tall, and Brighton also have a lot of tall players. Not that I feel like they don't score a huge amount from set pieces. And obviously Lewis Dunk's done okay, but maybe that'll have something to do with it as well. Plus, obviously Chilwell would have played quite a few games in a row. Off the Alonso talk, you've made a transfer already.
Yeah.
You can see it on screen. It's not hidden. Talk us through what you've done.
Yeah, so I really wanted Iheanacho. What it was I wanted Iheanacho for the last couple of weeks. I wanted Leicester cover. And I was kind of thinking maybe I can go without Iheanacho and bring in Maddison or Barnes as my Leicester cover. The Barnes injury, we just don't know when he's back. I was hoping it would be sooner rather than later. And I was thinking an easy switch to go midfield because I had Foden, Gundogan, and potentially Rafinha that I could sell, right? I had more selling spots in midfield. Maddison's a little bit too expensive and, of course, was left out last week. Sort of disciplinary issues and hasn't been fit. Barnes isn't there. And Iheanacho is just scoring for fun. So with Barnes out longer than we think, I think Iheanacho is absolutely nailed. Also, Brendan Rodgers isn't going to drop someone that's scoring goals. So that West I was happy to go without him last week because I felt like the West Ham fixture was really tricky. I didn't see Leicester scoring a couple, and Iheanacho obviously got 2. But the fixtures, West Brom, Palace, Southampton, and Newcastle in the next 4. If you don't have Leicester attacking cover, get it. So yeah, he's just so cheap. So I got him early. I didn't really want to sell Bamford, but there's no way I was selling Kane, obviously. And Watkins has better immediate fixtures than Bamford, and I already have Leeds covering Rafinha. So I thought there's no point in having Bamford and just benching him for the next few weeks when I've already got Raf. So whilst the fixtures turn for Leeds in a couple of weeks, they get a nice little run, it just might mean I only have one Leeds attack there in Rafinha, or I make a switch from Watkins back to Bamford if I need to. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process. I'm very happy with that move. I had to go early because I had the exact funds, Andy, and I hate doing it. And this season, all my transfers have been an hour before the deadline on a Saturday morning or a Friday night. Because of COVID and stuff like that, I just didn't want to risk it. But this week I had to go. And I was like, you know what? Iheanacho's already got an FA Cup game. There's a fear he gets injured anyway. I'm going into the deadline knowing that Iheanacho has a game before. So there's a risk. There's no greater risk than doing it on a Tuesday night to a Thursday night, So yeah, that's my one move so far. I am contemplating a second.
Go on.
It would be a 4-point hit again for the 3rd week on the trot. I don't really know if I'm going to do it, but I'm 0.1. I've got 0.1 to play with. It would mean Gundogan out, Jesse Lingard in. And I know I'm buying 2 guys that are sort of popular template-y picks, and perhaps I should be going a bit more rogue. But actually, I feel like I need these guys. And West Ham's fixtures are brilliant. Gundogan, I'm just not sure if he's going to start. If Man City got knocked out the Champions League last night, I wouldn't be considering that move. I'd have set with Gundogan. But now their fixtures are there's just so many. Their semi-final in the Champions League, the first leg is a Wednesday, the second leg is a Tuesday. Game week 34 is between that. There's no way Gundogan start. Of course, he plays 180 minutes in the Champs. There's no way he starts that Premier League game between, surely, with 6 days for the 3 games. So it makes me think, okay, Gundogan might not play in 32, isn't playing in 33, and probably isn't playing in 34. It might be worth the 4-point hit to sell him on.
Yeah, I think with the, I mean, obviously there is a chance. I think we all know that there is a chance that they play like maybe 1 or even 2 of the league games, but it's a chance. It's not guaranteed, like you say, and it's almost like a bit of a stress every week. Will he or will he not play? And what we've seen as well, what kind of puts me off even more is, in a few games we've seen where they get benched and they don't come on, but he did come on against Leeds. So that's even worse then because it's a cameo. Of course, he can score in like 20, 30 minutes, but that's not what you want. You don't want a player just playing 20 or 30 minutes. And obviously that was, there was circumstances around why that happened because they were 1-0 down. Or was it 1-0 at that point? I can't remember, but either way, they were chasing the game, so that's probably why he came down. Nothing to say that won't happen in some of these games that are coming, like Villa, for example. I mean, a lot of that's probably going to depend on Grealish, I appreciate, and he might not be fit for it. But, yeah, I agree. Whether it's not a 4-point hit, but the problem with Lingard is he's doing so well. He's probably going to go up in price at least once more, I would say, this week. He's already gone up once. It's a Friday deadline, so you might get away with it, but even if you do, will he go up on the Saturday, which is even more frustrating in some ways because you really don't want to make a move. So, yeah, I get why you're thinking about that.
I probably can't make that move next week, Andy. That's the thing. Yeah. I can't do Gundogan Lingard next week because of that 0.1 I've got to play with. That will be minus 0.1. And also then I've got to think, do I want to get 11 men out for 33?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you next because Kane and Son are both... Oh, sorry, Kane, you've got 3, haven't you? Kane, Son and Lloris are all going to be missing.
And Areola, so I don't have a goalkeeper for next.
So what's the plan? So are you thinking about changing that next week?
Yeah, so the plan is to sell Areola to Sanchez, who has a really nice 33 fixture. But if I do that, I've got 11 playing, and it means I've got no subs playing. If Alonso is benched or if someone is injured, it potentially leaves me with 10 men. If I sell Gundogan this week for Lingard, yes, it's a 4-point hit, but it also gives me a better team for 33 without a hit. So, my move next week, or I could go Gundogan to Lingard next week if the money allows me to, or similar, Bowen, whatever, and not have a goalkeeper. So I kind of think the 4-point hit is worth it because it gets me a goalkeeper and it gets me a stronger 11th or 12th man for 33.
Yeah, I quite like it, to be honest. I think like what you were saying before about like going more rogue. I mean, I think when you go different, there's times to be different, and sometimes it is just difficult to like back against the crowd. Like it's not just that Iheanacho has scored so many points and his ownership's going to go up. It's just that he also has really good fixtures as well. It's not like he's going into like Liverpool, Man City, Man United run of fixtures. It's not like Barnes is back or anything like that. So it is difficult to go completely against the crowd. Plus, you've already got Jota in place. You've got Trent, who's a nice differential. Pereira, Alonso, they're all... And also, you've got triple Spurs. A lot of people are only going in with kind of Kane and probably Son. Most people have got both of them, not necessarily a third. So it's not... Do you know what I mean? It's like you said, it's not completely standard or whatever word you want to use, template, and it's not completely just stupid picks either.
The back line I love. Like I've got that's my sort of differential status right there. It's having Hugo, who has got brilliant fixtures, and then Alonso, Pereira, Trent and Dean. Like they're 4 very attacking fullbacks that most probably own one or none of those guys. And I've got 4 that all on their day can clock up double digits like quite comfortably. So yeah, the defense is really my differential, and there's a lot of money in that defense, and I'm happy with that.
Let me ask you a question, right? So there's a player I love who you don't own, Mohamed Salah. So he's got Leeds away this week, and look, there's talk about Leeds being a bit more cautious, maybe a bit better defensive. I'll believe that when I see a few more games. So we'll see what happens in that Liverpool game. Obviously, they're just coming off the back of a loss as well. Well, not a loss to Real Madrid, but they've gone out. So they've got nothing else to play for now, apart from that top 4 spot. Now, you do have Fernandes. 1 goal, which was a penalty against City, 1 assist in the last 6. So, as I've said a few times on videos this week, a lot of people will consider that out of form. That's not my words, it's everyone else's words for how they describe players. But he does have Burnley at home and Leeds away, so pretty good fixtures. And you've already kind of booked in a few, or not booked in, but you're thinking of other transfers. Are you kind of worried about not having Salah, and is he in your thoughts about getting in? What's your thoughts around Fernandes, etc.? It's all kind of linked, I'd say.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't have the money to get to Salah. That's been the problem, Andy. I considered if Bruno and Salah were the same price, and bearing in mind Salah's I think 12.5 and Bruno I can sell at 11.2. I've got to find 1.3 million. That's just not easy at the moment. I've got 0.8 in the bank. But if I could make that switch very easily for the same price, I'd make it. I actually would prefer having Salah to Bruno. There's not a huge amount in it because of the fixtures United have got. One reason why I'm happy to go without Salah short term is because I've got Trent and Jota. Yes, that helps. But also it's because people aren't captaining Salah this week because we know everyone's on Kane. And then also, I know in 35 or 36, there's a very good chance Liverpool, when I free hit, Liverpool, if they get a double, that perhaps then that's when I have Salah, so I still get a little bit of Salah loving. So yeah, I can't see myself easily reaching him. The other option was, after the double, do I consider selling Son, getting the funds from somewhere to go Salah? But actually, no, Son needs to stay, and I'd be way short in funds anyway because he's got Sheffield United in 34, Leeds in 35, Wolves in 36. So the Spurs boys have got to stay, which means it's really difficult to get Salah in. But given the choice, same price, Salah over Bruno at the minute for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess defensively you've got quite a bit of money, so Luka Dean downgrade, for example, could do it, but that would mean not getting Lingard, not getting the goalkeeper next week, so it's tough one. I guess you just got to ride it out. And I think like some people are starting to consider getting rid of Fernandes. As much as I do think Salah is the better option as well, I think Burnley at home, Leeds away, you can probably make a case just to keep him. Okay, last question, captaincy, right? I get that it's a pretty easy one this week. Double game week, everyone's going to go for Spurs. Have you considered going for Son at all, just to be different? Like just in the hope that he outscores him? Did outscore him in the last double game week.
Do you know what? The effective ownership almost has nothing to do with it for me. Like, I'm not scared of going against that and would be going Son if I genuinely thought Son had a chance of getting more points. But the way Son's playing, and I know he looked good against United, I'm not loving what I'm seeing with Spurs at the moment. If it was earlier in the season when we were seeing a front 2, Kane often dropping into the 10, Son as the 9 running in behind, absolutely. If Kane's effective ownership I knew was going to be 200%, but I was seeing that, I'd go Son all day long because we were seeing Son matching or bettering Kane's points. But now what we're seeing is chalk on Son's boots again. And we know what Mourinho does to these wingers or wide forwards. He did it with Rashford. He did it with Hazard. He gives these guys defensive responsibility, Andy, which when you've got a team with 2 flair attacking players, Kane and Son, there's 8 that can have defensive responsibility, but those 2 should be all out. And it's so frustrating. And he did it with Rashford and he did it with Hazard. Hazard was often at bloody wing back when we were playing, when we were playing good teams. And it was like, what are you doing? I want Hazard in the opposing half. So we're seeing it with Son again. He's far too deep and he's far too wide. And yes, he got a goal against United, but he does not look like the same goal threat in that position under Mourinho. And look, under Pochettino, he was wide. That's fine. Pochettino didn't ask his team to defend and sit deep and never have the ball. So it's very different. It's not just a positional thing. It's a tactics thing. And Mourinho teams don't have the ball, therefore they're deeper. So yeah, frustrating to see Son there. I still think he's a good FPL asset because he's 9 million. He performs like a premium often. And on his day, he can deliver those goals. But he's just been too goal shy for me. So no, I can't consider going rogue just for the sake of going rogue because I'm not seeing it with the eye test and the stats. So yeah, it's Kane all day long.
So you don't want Mourinho back at Chelsea then?
Oh, good God, no. third time unlucky, that would be.
Yeah, I remember the good times with him the first time.
It will be really interesting to see his next move. But yeah, I think he might struggle for a big Premier League team. I could see him going to a big team in Europe still, but I think he might be done.
I've seen a few people on Twitter discussing, kind of outside of the FPL world, just discussing that maybe now is the time that he goes into international management.
Yeah,
I think will he go to England? Maybe. Would we want
possible.
him? Who knows? Anyway, that's a whole different story. Whether Mourinho should come and manage England. I think that's it really. I think obviously if Rafinha, I think he's fine, but if Bielsa does rule him out, you're just going to play Watkins to take it, not get rid.
Yeah, Watkins would come in. Rafinha, knowing I've sold Bamford, I definitely want Leeds cover later in the season, so I'm keeping one of those Leeds attackers for sure. And Watkins would therefore start. Yeah, who again, or Luca Dean. Luca Dean hasn't got a bad fixture. I mean, I'm happy with him on the bench. But Watkins, we saw him score last week against Liverpool. It could do the same against City, who will rest some players, and it might be Ake and Laporte as centre back, for example. So perhaps a little bit of a higher chance for him to score. But for me, the Watkins points will come when Grealish is back in the team, and we don't know when that's going to be. So yeah, no, all good. Fairly happy. I just need to decide if I go Gundogan or Jay Lings. Finally getting on the Jay Lings train for the Newcastle fixture, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. We'll have to see if you do that, and obviously we'll discuss it next week. It's funny, isn't it? We talk about, City could rotate players, but they're still bringing in Ake and Laporte, so it's just ridiculous. If you have enjoyed that, please do give it a like. Hit subscribe if you're new around here. We'll be back probably this time next week as well to look at how 32 went, and then obviously look ahead to 33, which will be a blank game week for 4 teams, which is Fulham, Southampton, I think, Man City, and Spurs as well, of course. So we'll be discussing that, seeing the moves then. So yeah, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Gianni, thank you for joining me.
Thank you, mate. Good to chat as always.
Cheers all. Good luck this week, and we will see you again soon.